The morning she never woke. Morning came to Cal Poly like any other. But for Kristin Smart, morning never came. The empty bed. When Kristin's roommate woke up that Sunday, May 26, 1996, something felt wrong immediately. Kristin's bed hadn't been slept in. The sheets were smooth. The blankets untouched. Her pillow looked exactly the way it had the night before. Kristin's backpack was still there. Her purse. Her credit cards. Everything she would need to start her day was still in the room. Kristin wasn't. She always calls. By mid-morning, concern turned to alarm. Kristin had a routine. She called her parents every Sunday. Without fail. That call never came. Her parents waited. Then they waited some more. By afternoon, the silence was unbearable. Kristin hadn't shown up for class. Hadn't met friends. Hadn't checked in. For someone so dependable, this wasn't just unusual. It was impossible. The first 24 hours. What followed was a race against time. One no one realized they were already losing. Friends began searching the campus. Dorms. Bathrooms. Walkways. Party houses. Campus police were notified, but at first, the disappearance wasn't treated as urgent. Kristin was an adult. College students sometimes didn't come home. Hours passed. Then more hours. The clock kept moving forward, and Kristin did not. Panic sets in. By evening, fear had taken hold. Her parents contacted authorities themselves. A missing person report was filed. Search efforts expanded. Volunteers walked the hills and paths surrounding campus. Helicopters scanned the terrain. Dogs were brought in. Flyers went up. Kristin's smiling face appeared everywhere, on poles, walls, doors. The question was simple. Where was she? And the answer was terrifying. No one knew. The shift from hope to dread. As night fell, the truth settled in. Kristin had not gone somewhere willingly. She hadn't packed. She hadn't planned. She hadn't told anyone. Whatever happened fast. And happened close. A young woman had vanished from a college campus in plain sight. And somewhere, someone knew exactly why she never came home. The search was only just beginning. But the clock had already run out. A case failed from the start. Every missing person case has a window. A short one. Investigators call it the first 48 hours. In Kristin Smart's case, that window was left wide open. And then it closed. The dorm room that wasn't secured. Kristin's dorm room should have been treated as a potential crime scene. It wasn't. Friends came in and out. Belongings were touched. Time passed. The room remained open, unsealed, unprotected. Any trace of what happened before Kristin left that night was quietly erased. Not by a suspect, but by routine. The clothes and the car. Paul Flores' clothes from that night were never seized. Not immediately. Not while memories were fresh. Not while evidence could still speak. His car wasn't processed either. No forensic sweep. No urgent preservation. By the time interest sharpened, the trail had gone cold. Evidence doesn't wait. And it doesn't forgive delay. Missed moments in questioning. Early interviews set the tone for an entire investigation. But those first conversations were casual, unstructured, non-confrontational. Paul Flores wasn't pressed on inconsistencies. His changing story wasn't challenged. No timeline was locked in. What should have been preserved as testimony became fluid. And fluid stories are hard to hold accountable. Why the first 48 hours matter. Experts are clear on this. In the early hours after a disappearance, physical evidence is most intact. Witness memories are most reliable. Suspects are least prepared. This is when cases are made or lost. In Kristin's case, law enforcement initially treated her absence as a voluntary disappearance. A choice, not a crisis. That assumption changed everything. When other cases were solved, history offers painful comparisons. Cases where dorm rooms were sealed within hours, cars searched immediately, clothing collected the same day, suspects separated and questioned thoroughly. Those cases moved fast. Some were solved within days. Kristin's didn't. Not because clues weren't there, but because no one acted as if they mattered. The cost of inaction. By the time urgency set in, it was too late. Evidence had faded. Stories had hardened. Silence had settled. The system didn't just fail to protect Kristin. It protected time. And time protected the person who knew what happened. This wasn't just a disappearance. It was a case allowed to slip away. And the consequences would stretch across decades. Who is Paul Flores, really? To understand what happened to Kristin Smart, you have to understand the man who walked beside her. Not the headlines, not the court transcripts, but the pattern, the psychological profile. Experts who later examined Paul Flores' behavior identified a familiar framework. Not rage-driven violence, not sudden madness, but opportunistic sexual predation. This type of offender does not stalk loudly. He waits. He observes. He looks for moments when vulnerability outweighs resistance. Paul Flores showed traits consistent with antisocial behavior: lack of empathy, minimal emotional response, self-preservation over accountability. Kristin wasn't targeted because she was special. She was targeted because she was available. The modus operandi. Witnesses and later testimony revealed a troubling pattern. Paul gravitated toward intoxicated women. Women who were disoriented, alone, physically impaired. He inserted himself as a helper, a guide, a protector. This wasn't kindness. It was access. Predators like this don't force their way in. They wait to be invited by circumstance. The night as a pattern, not an exception. Kristin's last night wasn't random. Multiple women would later describe eerily similar encounters with Paul Flores. Being followed, being isolated, being touched while incapacitated. Some escaped. Kristin didn't. What separates survivors from victims in these cases is often not strength, but timing. After the disappearance, what Paul Flores did after Kristin vanished is just as telling as what he did before. He didn't ask questions. He didn't show grief. He didn't seek answers. Instead, he withdrew, avoided investigators, changed details, protected himself. This absence of remorse isn't dramatic. It's quiet, and it's common in offenders who prioritize control over connection. Comparisons to other campus predators. Criminologists recognize this type immediately. Men who operate near campuses, blend into student life, exploit alcohol culture. They don't fit stereotypes. They don't look dangerous. They look forgettable. That's the point. Why this matters. Paul Flores didn't disappear after Kristin did. He stayed close, near campuses, near vulnerable women, near opportunity, and for years, without charges, without accountability. The pattern was allowed to continue. This chapter isn't about demonizing one man. It's about recognizing behavior that institutions often overlook until it's too late. Because when patterns go unchecked, they don't stop. They wait. The family shield. If this case had only involved one man, it might not have taken 25 years. But Paul Flores was never alone. Paul's father, Ruben Flores, would become one of the most controversial figures in the case. Publicly, he was a protective parent. Privately, investigators would later allege something far more disturbing. Because wherever Paul went after Kristin disappeared, there was one place he always returned. The neighbors noticed something. In the years following Kristin Smart's disappearance, neighbors around Ruben Flores' home began noticing things they couldn't explain. Late-night activity, digging in the yard, fresh soil where none had been before, heavy items being moved under cover of darkness. Some neighbors recalled hearing machinery in the early hours, not construction, not repairs. Digging. When asked about it, Ruben Flores was hostile, defensive, unwelcoming. This wasn't rumor. These were recorded testimonies, later repeated under oath. A house that drew attention. Over time, law enforcement attention turned toward Ruben's property. Not once. Not casually. Repeatedly. Cadaver dogs were brought to the home. More than once. And more than once, they alerted. Specifically, beneath the structure. Alerts alone are not proof. But patterns matter. And this pattern refused to go away. The investigators' theory. Decades after Kristin vanished, investigators would make a stunning claim. They believed Kristin Smart had been buried beneath Ruben Flores' home. Not hidden in the wilderness. Not lost to time. But concealed, deliberately, by family. According to prosecutors, Kristin's body was later moved after law enforcement pressure increased. The implication was devastating. This was no longer about one night. It was about years of silence, family loyalty, or moral failure. This chapter forces an uncomfortable question. Where does loyalty and responsibility begin? Protecting a child is instinct. But protecting a crime? That's a choice. Investigators allege Ruben Flores chose to shield his son, not just emotionally, but physically, by helping hide evidence. Ruben would deny it all. But denial didn't erase the soil disturbances, or the dog alerts, or the witness statements that lined up far too well. Why this changed everything? For years, the case stalled because there was no body, no confession, no clear crime scene. But once the focus widened from Paul to the people around him, the silence cracked. Because conspiracies don't survive scrutiny forever. They survive only as long as everyone agrees to stay quiet. And in Kristin Smart's case, that silence was finally breaking.